Hey, what is up, mortals? It's Dylan here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 1 of What If Deku Was a Pokemon? So, everyone, sit back and relax, cause you're in for a treat. Let's begin. On a calm day, a beach filled with heaps of trash littered the area. A blonde-haired, skeleton-like man was sitting on top of a fridge, watching a large trash pile moving and falling onto the ground, creating a loud bang that filled the quiet beach. The man chuckles as the fallen trash pile explodes in a bright blue flame. This was the young hero in training, Izuku Midoriya. Izuku looked around and noticed that he had made a bigger mess than before. He sighed as he quickly picked up the trash and continued walking it to somewhere off the beach. Once he finished, Izuku ran over to the skeleton man, and the man still couldn't believe what this kid was made of. Izuku looked like every other teenager with colored hair, except for what stood out about him was the pointed ears on top of his head that looked like it was part of his hair, a white spike sticking out of his chest, and his forehands, a medium-length tail, the same color as his hair, and his red piercing eyes.
All Might! I finished a part of the section of the beach. Can you please battle against me now?
The blonde-haired skeleton man is the #1 hero All Might. He looked at the boy, then back at the beach. He was impressed with Izuku clearing a good amount of the beach in such a short time. But then, looking back at Izuku, who looked like he was ready for this battle, and boy, he didn't know what he was in for.
Alright, young Midoriya, if you insist.
Toshinori pushed himself up and then launched into the air and landed behind Izuku in a buff state, with one glowing blue eye and a chuckle sending down Izuku's spine. All Might placed a hand on the boy's shoulder and pointed toward the empty section of the beach. Izuku and All Might walked the opposite distance from each other as a timer on the phone slowly counted down. Izuku could feel All Might's aura slowly building itself up, while Izuku kept his aura low. Once the timer went off, All Might and Izuku charged at each other with furious force. As Izuku was charging at All Might, his life flashed past his eyes. A young Izuku was catching his breath, putting his hands in front of them, preparing to protect the kid behind him. He looked back to see the kid crying as they rubbed their cheek from the burn mark. Izuku felt something in him that was boiling to the top. Rage. He angrily but nervously turned back to the laughing boys and shouted at the top of his lungs.
Kachan! You have to stop this now! Why would you attack anyone you think is weak compared to you?
Two boys activated their quirks as the kid in the middle, chuckling, clashing his fists together, as sparks flew out of his hands. His smile reached from ear to ear as he looked at the scared kid. This was Izuku's ex-friend, Katsuki Bakugo. The boy laughed as the other boys joined in.
Get out of my way, Deku! What do you want to lie by their side on the ground?
Izuku straightened his stance and made a serious face toward Bakugo. Bakugo was shocked, but immediately went back into a laughing fit.
You really are a Deku.
Bakugo and the boys charged straight at Izuku and the kid. Izuku quickly looked back to see the kid readying for the worst, but Izuku wouldn't allow that. Izuku charges at the trio and is ready to throw a fist toward them. But Bakugo got the range with his quirk that not only blinded Izuku, but was able to hurt him a lot. This gave the other boys an opening to punch Kid Izuku until he was running out of breath. Bakugo was about to deliver the final blow, but Izuku stood up and threw a punch directly into Bakugo's stomach. When Izuku was able to get a hit in with Bakugo, everyone was shocked by Izuku's punch. His hand was coated in a blue flame, and his eyes went to a deep shade of red, as if they were glowing. But the punch itself is what got everyone surprised. Izuku sent Bakugo flying into the wall, which was about 6 feet away from them, and for a child to have that kind of power at a young age is insane. Izuku looked up and was scared that they had killed Bakugo, and the boys, except the kid, were saying he was a murderer. Izuku kept saying that he didn't mean to do it, but they kept going until they heard a groan. The boys helped Bakugo, but Bakugo pushed himself off them and started running away, with his goons following along. Before he was out of Izuku and the kid's sight, Bakugo screamed out toward them.
This isn't the end, Deku! I promise you to regret standing up against me!
Once they were gone, Izuku fell onto the ground, and his vision slowly faded as the kid tried to keep him awake and faintly heard that he'll look for someone to help him. And before Izuku could get anything past his lips, he blacked out on the ground. Time passed, and something was shaking him awake. Izuku opened and closed his eyes to find the starry night and someone else on top of him.
Izuku? Sweetie!
Izuku woke up to find his mother holding him in her arms, tears following down her face, as she kept telling herself that he was okay. Finally, Izuku slowly looked up to answer her.
Mom!
Inko hugged her boy tightly, as she didn't want to let him go. She looked down to see Izuku tearing up, clenching his mother's shirt. She placed him on his feet, and asked what was wrong with him. She wondered if he felt uneasy, or if something else was hurting him. And something was hurting him. His spirit. Izuku looked up at his mother, with a teared-up face.
Mom, I want to become stronger. Because I couldn't protect anyone. So I want to train.
Inko was confused by her son saying something like that. She asked him why Izuku wanted to start training now at such a young age. And Izuku replied with what had happened, and why he looked beaten up badly. Once Izuku finished, Inko was shocked and disgusted by what she had heard. Kids bullying each other for being weak was a terrible thing to do. She asked who the children were, but Izuku didn't want to say who they were, so he kept quiet about the boys' names and stated he couldn't remember them. Inko sighed and asked him if it was something Izuku wanted to do, but she could see something within him that won't stop, no matter what she said. She could tell that Izuku was being serious from the tone in his voice, sighing in defeat and promising to Izuku that she'll help out in any way she could. And that's what Izuku did. He trained, physically and mentally, to get better at using his quirk and understanding it better and what exactly it was for most of his life. He knew that his body felt much stronger whenever he was severely damaged, and his body was engulfed in flames. But at moments, he could sense the feeling and the energy of everyone around him. Years went by, and Izuku was able to understand, at least partially, understand what his quirk was. He strengthened his body and mind by studying and training in martial arts and meditating. This allowed him to handle better the blue flames he used against Bakugo, but Izuku couldn't fully control it. Fast forward to middle school, and only a few days ago, Izuku was sitting in his classroom as the rest of his classmates were talking amongst each other, waiting for the teacher to speak up. "Everyone, quiet down now! Now, it's time to start thinking about your future." All the students smiled and activated their quirks after he said the future. The class went wild as he screamed and shouted, except for Izuku, who only smiled, and Bakugo, who kept quiet. The teacher told the students to calm down and allow him to finish, but one student decided to go against it, and that was, of course, Bakugo. He shouted that he was the best of the best in the school, and that no one else could compare to him. The students screamed out at him for being full of himself. Well, yeah. Bakugo jumped into his desk and boosted his ego more by saying he was at the top in every exam and trial, and was aiming for UA. He kept laughing until the teacher spoke up. "Well, Bakugo, you're not the only one that wants to go to UA. Izuku is the other one." Bakugo froze up after hearing that name. He angrily looked back towards Izuku, who wasn't paying attention to him. Bakugo fired an explosion on Izuku's desk to grab his attention. Izuku looked up to see pissed-off Bakugo throwing insults at him. Izuku got up from his seat and told him to stop his behavior. Izuku and Bakugo stood each other down, with the whole class watching them, waiting for one of them to throw a punch at the other. Before Bakugo could do anything, the teacher called them out. "All right, you two. You can have your little bout later. Can you let me finish this up first?" Izuku nodded and sat down with Bakugo, puffing out before sitting back in his seat. Everyone else went back to listening to the teacher. The teacher sighed and continued talking about their time left in the school, what they should start thinking about in their future, and how they should keep their mindset at a standard level. Throughout the rest of the day, Izuku was able to get his day through like anyone else, with Bakugo keeping a close eye on him. At the end of the day, Izuku was packing his items and about to leave class when Bakugo grabbed his hero book and stared down at Izuku. Izuku sighed as he made eye contact with Bakugo and was ready for what he had to say. Honey is a free browser ad available on Google, Opera, Firefox, and Safari. If it's a browser, it has Honey. Honey automatically saves you money when you check out on sites like Amazon, Papa John's, and Kohl's. Wherever you shop, it's a good chance that Honey can save you money. All you have to do when you're checking out at these stores is to click that little orange button and it will scan the entire internet and find discount codes for you. If there's a coupon code, they will find it. And if there's not a coupon code, you can rest assured that you are getting the best price possible. If you install Honey right now, you can save like $50 to $100 on your shopping, doing nothing. There's literally no reason not to install Honey. It takes 2 clicks. 10 million people use it and it has over 100,000 5-star reviews. Unless you hate money, you should install Honey. Now back to the video. Seriously, Deku! What the hell are you thinking about going to UA? You know that you can't compare yourself to me! Through the training he had put himself through, Izuku overcame his fear of being scared of his friend and learned to stand up for himself. Finally, Izuku got up from his seat, looked at Kacchan and spoke his mind. Kacchan, why don't you understand that it doesn't matter how many times you call me that name? I won't back down from my goal! Bakugo scaled him, blasting his notebook and threw it out the window. Izuku ran off to grab it, but failed to hold it. Bakugo was leaving the room with his goons, following him, but stopped whenever he heard something coming out of Izuku that shocked him. Bakugo, you may have a terrible personality, but I know you're hiding your feelings. You have an amazing quirk, and push yourself to the limit that nobody would. But I want to say, please become better. Bakugo looked back, was about to say something to him, but decided to ignore it and continue walking. Izuku went down, picked up his notebook and returned home. Thinking about the interaction with Bakugo, he kept walking until he felt something beneath him moving toward the pipe he was about to walk over. Izuku stopped as a giant slime ball emerged from the pipes and looked toward Izuku. A fresh body! Stand still, kid! The slime man jumped toward Izuku, only for Izuku to bounce back from the man. Izuku then jumped forward, pulling his fist back and tried to activate his blue flames. But he couldn't pull it off because he was not calm, and his punch didn't do anything to the man. The man chuckles as he slowly absorbs, causing Izuku to freak out. Before the slime reached Izuku's mouth, a loud cry would be heard from the end of the tunnel. Delaware Smash! A powerful gust of air blasted the slime man off Izuku and around the tunnel. Izuku got his footing as he turned his head to where the gust of wind came from and went starry-eyed. The #1 hero, All Might. Within a few seconds, All Might placed the slime man into a battle and smiled at Izuku. Izuku was putting 100 words a second into praising All Might, asking him to sign something for him and wanting him to answer some of his questions. All Might made 2 of Izuku's requests and said goodbye to him. Izuku didn't want him to leave without answering at least one important question. So Izuku grabbed All Might's leg as All Might jumped high into the air. After a while, All Might noticed that Izuku was holding on to him. He told Izuku to let go of him, with Izuku replying that he'll die from this height. All Might settled down in a building as a cloud of smoke consumes him. All Might, with how I look and with my powers, do you think someone like me could become a hero? Izuku was trying to catch his breath from that experience until he felt something weird around him. He felt someone's energy going from high flame energy to a low flame. Izuku looked over to find the once powerful hero become a skeletal-like person. Izuku called the man an imposter. The man saying that he was All Might. Well, he used to be. He went on about his injury, and that his time as a hero ended soon. Izuku was shocked to hear this story and what he was going through. All Might looked at the mutated boy and saw something in him that screamed out a hero.
It doesn't matter how you look, or should care about what people say. Just as long as you keep your dreams up, they can become a pro Without a doubt!
Once Izuku made his way out of the building, a loud bang could be heard from a few blocks down. He ran as fast as he could, only to find a slime monster attacking one of the citizens. The heroes held off and screamed out toward the citizens to stand back as they tried to save the kid inside of the monster.
I suggest you let me go right now, or this boy gets it!
Izuku was confused by him saying kid and boy, until a clear view of the aura and image of the boy could be seen. The one captured was Katsuki, and Izuku was furious.
Keep your hands off of him!
Izuku screams at the top of his lungs, pushing himself past the citizens and heroes and towards the slime monster. The heroes cried out for Izuku to stop where he was, but Izuku didn't listen as he pulled back his fist. Once he closed in on the slime man, his fist and then his entire body was consumed in a blue flame. Izuku jumped and launched his fist into the man's eye. The slime removes himself from Bakugo as Bakugo coughs up some air. Izuku looked down at his hand to find it still engulfed in blue flames, and then everything around turned dark. He frantically looked around him, only seeing the auras of people there. Izuku looked back to find a slime man charging at him. Izuku was about to attack, but was grabbed by the shoulder as he felt the aura of the #1 hero.
Young man! Stand back now! Delaware, smash!
All Might threw a powerful punch at the man, and the man was disrupted throughout the street as the skies began to pour. The citizens cheered as the boys, mostly Izuku, were scolded for pulling something like this. Once everything settled down, Izuku began to walk back home. As he walked, Izuku turned around and heard Bakugo running at him, holding his head down. He prepared himself for the worst, and it came. Bakugo stated that he didn't need Izuku to save him, that he was fine. Izuku simply said, "You're welcome," to him, and both walked their separate ways. Not before Bakugo said something shocking to Izuku. "Thanks." Izuku turned back after hearing that coming out of him. Bakugo was out of his sight, but not out of his mind. He knew that Bakugo was trying, at least. Izuku was about to continue walking home, but he was stopped again by All Might. Izuku was confused and shocked to find All Might and look for him. All Might laughed and said he had something to tell the boy.
Young man, what you have shown me and what I saw from you, you have something that could make you a great hero. And I want to ask you this question. Will you be my successor?
Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to say, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. Our We the Celestials My Hero Academia and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. And lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend you an invitation to join our team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years old to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching,
And have a great day!